Hi, welcome to another video. This is Books and Bourbon. I'm Jacob. It's been a while since I've posted a video, and my recording equipment got a little messed up, so I had to go and buy some new stuff. But I'm back. I've been doing some shorts, but kind of going through the regular process here today. I want to talk about a book that I recently finished, as well as a bourbon that I think really represents that book and author very well. So the book that I want to talk about is Travels with Charlie by John Steinbeck. This is one of his later works, kind of less well known. He's obviously really well known for East of Eden, Grapes of Wrath, but excited to talk about this little book here, which is quite a delight. And then the bourbon, which I want to talk about, is Russell's Reserve 10-year. So this is a Wild Turkey product. And this was one of the first bottles. I think it was actually the second bottle that I bought as I kind of started my my whiskey collection. And so gonna talk about that. And actually, I'm gonna go ahead and pour out a drink here and let this air out while I talk about the book. So, got a little pour there. So yeah, Travels with Charlie in Search of America by John Steinbeck. Sort of the story behind this is John Steinbeck went cross country in kind of a camper truck with his dog Charlie. And Charlie is a black poodle, a standard poodle, which is maybe not the kind of dog you'd think Steinbeck to have, but he travels, all over from his home in the Northeast all the way through the North, Midwest, down through the Pacific Northwest, through California, and then kind of closes with hitting the South and Texas. And I think Steinbeck for me is sort of one of those quintessential American authors. He kind of gets a lot of criticism and isn't really taken seriously in the academic world. I think a lot of the reason why is because he can lean toward melodrama. I mean, that ending of Grapes of Wrath is probably the most melodramatic ending you can imagine. And if you haven't read the book, read the book and you'll know what I'm talking about. But I kind of like it. And to me, I think there's this unashamed emotionality to his work, which I find really refreshing. And he's not trying to be, the writer that is the most complex or, the most written about in academic circles. He's kind of just writing from experience. He's writing from a very American point of view. And to try to understand what that means, what is an American point of view, I think Travels with Charlie really kind of captures that. As he goes across country, the big question he's asking is, what does being American mean? And as he encounters so many different types of people and so many different areas of the nation, which is extremely large, the answer is there is an American sensibility, but it's by definition very very rich and layered and complex, and there's no one definition of American beyond the fact that we are all maybe hopeful, maybe struggle in meaningful ways, and so I think as someone interested in Americana, it's a really interesting book. And I think a worthwhile read. I actually started it last year. I got about 2/3 of the way through it and then kind of dropped it. And I didn't pick it up again for about 6 months. And I picked it up again a couple weeks ago and finished that last third pretty quickly. So I'm really glad I picked it back up. It's a good book, and one that takes seriously what it means to be American. So obviously, like a really appropriate lead into bourbon, which is the American spirit. And I think this Russell's Reserve, I really loved it. I found myself going back to it time and again. And for me, it really captures the essence of what it means to take a distillate of, the corn mash and putting it into newly charred oak barrels. And from there you get that richness and that complexity and that depth of flavor. And I think Wild Turkey products in general are very rich in flavor. So I wanted to pair it here with John Steinbeck because I think they're both really good articulations of their craft and also that uniquely American craft. Steinbeck as a uniquely American author, and then Russell's Reserve and Wild Turkey as a uniquely American distillery for a uniquely American product, which is bourbon. So I can, even as I'm talking, I can smell it. It just smells so much like bourbon, and kind of what I tell people who come over and I give them different tastes of some of the whiskeys I have is that if you don't like Russell's Reserve 10-year, you might not be a bourbon person, and that's okay. But it's sort of like a perfect encapsulation of what bourbon means. So, taking a sniff here. Yeah, so right away I get the caramel. There's like apple notes in there, kind of a little bit of fruitiness. And then the oak really comes through. And so this is, I think, the first bourbon where I really discovered that oak flavor, which is so paramount to bourbon. But yeah, it just smells great, smells delicious, makes me want to drink it. So yeah, let's take a sip. Yeah, so that sweetness comes through right at the beginning, but then you get these, like, again, layers of different flavors. There is that kind of tart apple fruitiness to it, but then you get a lot of those kind of oak notes of leather. There's like some tobacco notes in there, and then kind of that that oaky, woody character, which really comes through. Let's take a second sip. Yeah, I mean, it's just a delicious whiskey. If you're new to bourbon and you don't know what to try, to kind of start you on this journey, I think this particular bottle is really affordable. It's like $40, $45, and it's a 10-year age stated. So if you want to take my advice, don't go chasing Eagle Rare 10-year. Just go and get a bottle of Russell's Reserve 10-year, which in my opinion is better than the Eagle Rare. I know tastes are different, but it's very available, it's very affordable, and it's very good. So at the very least, even if you are like a Buffalo Trace person, you want to get that Eagle Rare bottle, this is different enough that it's going to help you refine your palate and really give you that essence of what a bourbon is and how it's different than other whiskeys around. So yeah, thanks for joining me with this. I highly recommend both Steinbeck and Russell's Reserve. And if you haven't read Grapes of Wrath or East of Eden, like, just jump right into those books. East of Eden in particular is such a fun read. It's so emotional, and layered and just an awesome read. But yeah, if you're interested in kind of the traveling genre and travel writing, Travels with Charlie in Search of America is awesome. Thanks.